Hey everyone, I'm Michael Bruce, CMO at Agent Moves, and welcome to our Good to Great series. We're all about sharing amazing stories of top realtors and how they got there so we can help make more realtors great. So let's jump in today with our guest, Andrew Pepper. Meet Andrew.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew, thank you so much. And people that are watching these videos know I like to start with something not in real estate because we're going to dig into that deeply. I can't wait to get into it. Some interesting stuff on Andrew. Definitely an interesting guy here. A couple of cool things that he'll be able to talk about. He grew up on a farm, big farm with animals and the whole thing. And here he is a lot of years later back on a farm. So we'll hear that story in a minute. But really crazy. Andrew joined the military, I guess, right before 9/11 and has been in 26 countries, 10 states. I mean, has had an amazing career within the military itself and then into real estate. So tell us a little bit about the military side of this and the travel, and then love to hear about, growing up on a farm and what brought you back to the farm.
Yes, sir. So joined 3 weeks prior to September 11th. Always wanted to be a fighter jet pilot, and growing up watching Top Gun, that was pretty cool. And my first deployment was on CVN 65 Enterprise, which is the boat or aircraft carrier that they shot Top Gun on. So I was 18 years old, in charge of troubleshooting, slot checking, avionics and weapons systems on the what was my dream. So I basically did that one to get out, use that GI money to get my degree, and then go back in and fly them. And then life had another plan. So went and played with Boeing for about 10 years and got laid off on my birthday. Happy birthday from the Boeing company. And dove into real estate and never looked back. So it was the worst birthday present at the time that ended up being the best blessing probably of my life. So
Well, so tell us a little bit about the transition. Where did real estate come from?
yeah, so I mean, growing up, my grandparents had a brokerage in Missouri. So when I was really young, I was out with granddad and showing farms and just riding around with him, and so I was always kind of around it, I guess per se. But I know, really young, not like learning it so much, but just kind of knew what real estate was, and I think those seeds got planted early. And then when I bought my first home in Texas, I had a really good experience. Had an incredible agent. It was a husband-wife team. He was a builder. She was a realtor. And so he knew all the, technical and building and construction stuff and things to look for, which was awesome. And I just had a great experience. I was like, man, whenever they started doing layoffs at Boeing, I kind of saw the writing on the wall. And I didn't get laid off, but I did get a layoff notice. So I started going to real estate school, and then they rescinded that 60-day notice. And then about a year later, I got another one, and I was like, you know what? I could have stayed, but I was going to have to go somewhere cold. My wife was like, we're not going anywhere cold. So we just let them lay me off, and I went into full-time real estate. And that's kind of the, I guess, 50,000 foot view of habit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, excellent. So tell us about the first year or two getting involved in real estate. How did it just happen for you? How did you start to create your customer base?
Yeah. So I didn't know how lucky I was. I was at the number 2 market center in the world in South Lake, Texas, and had the best trainers and the best training that you could possibly dream of having. And I think since I didn't know that was normal, I probably took it a little bit for granted. But I was probably about 2.5 months in, and I hadn't sold a house. And I went to my TL's office and my team leader's office, and I was like, "Hey, can we talk?" And she's like, "Honey, I'd love to get with so and so, and we'll put you on the schedule." And she kind of read my face, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No." And she got on the phone and said, "Hey, can we reschedule this appointment? I've got something I need to take care of." I'm about to tear up even talking about this, because had she not done that and not read me, I wouldn't be on this call with you. It just wouldn't have happened. So she brought me in the office, asked me a series of questions, gave me a couple things to do. And 3 weeks later, I put my first house under contract, and the rest is history. And so I think that's a crucial thing, right? If you're struggling, ask for help. And if that person doesn't help you, then you need to find somebody else that's willing to help you. Because if I can be successful in this business, anyone can. And you have to believe in yourself. And until you can, you have to find somebody that does. And I was lucky enough to find somebody that really believed in me and saw the skill set and the knowledge and the ability the potential that I had. And I'm grateful that she did. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And so that was dual career part time in Texas, because I did, since things were struggling, literally right after that, one of my old suppliers, because I had 35 suppliers, I was in charge of quality engineering and inspections and AS 9100 standards and all that fun stuff for the government, for defense, space, and security side. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, how's real estate?" And of course, I kind of fibbed to them, and it's like, "Oh, it's going great." And they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And so I was dual career for quite a while. And about the time we really got the real estate business going, so that was early 15 when I transitioned. And then May of 17, I was doing really well in real estate there. And we decided to quit our jobs and move here to Florida to be closer to family. And my wife and I both quit really good jobs and moved back here. And I helped her start her mobile veterinarian business called Chasing Tails. And so her and I ran around from May of 17 to February of 2019. And then February of 2019, I told her, I said, "Hey, I want to go full-time real estate." So just over 6 years ago, I pulled the trigger and went full-time.
Wow. Wow, what a great story. I love it. Yeah, I definitely hear a lot about the coaching side of this, right? And, even, I've told you like the, co-founder of Agent Moves, she's, killing it, right? In an unbelievable market, unbelievable luxury, doing crazy numbers. And she's working with her coach, every week. It's every successful agent I've spoke to. It's so heavily that support system that you guys have with your coaches, is just absolutely fantastic and necessary, to your point, right? Don't think that you can just do this on your own and not lean on, others that have had some great success.
Absolutely. And I think the big thing for me that made me as successful as I am is surrounding myself with people that think way bigger than me. So whatever your company with or whatever company you're with, get to a huge real estate conference and get around people that are doing huge things. Because, when you go full time, maybe you're thinking, "Oh man, I want to sell 2 to 5 million a year or something," whatever that number is. And then you get into a room where somebody went 0 to 100 million in 5 years, and you're like, you reverse engineer that, or at least I did. And I was like, let's see how I can do that. And so I put a plan together strategically of what that 5 years looked like to hit 100 million. And February of 19 to February of 24, where my 5 year mark was, I didn't hit the 100 million closed, but I did have 100 million sold or pending. And so it is possible. You have to have a plan, and you have to have goalposts and, little checkpoints along the way to get you there. And so, yeah, it was pretty cool. And 6 years helped a little over 240 families. And I think probably have 7 to 10 pending right now for a little over 5 million. And it's just a lot of fun. It's, you can build a really big world or build a really flexible world with a lot of time off, or both.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, because we did chat a little bit before, we got on here. Talk about building, you had the momentum, you were building this business, right? Building a team, and then back down from it. So I think it's a great story, a great learning experience, because, we're looking at, how do we help, good realtors become great? Doesn't necessarily mean greatness, doesn't mean, having a team of 20 agents. Greatness means your happiness, right? That you're successful, you're happy, and you got a great life going. So tell us about that run you had, and then what got you to back down.
Yeah. So in my first year, I was very disciplined with basically paying myself 30% of every check so I could build the business and hire talent and serve our clients at a higher level. And, that first executive assistant hire was a game changer. It really, one, it helped me deliver an incredible experience and leverage my weaknesses into her strengths. And it was really cool. So that was fun. And then we started to bring on agents, and you have to be very careful at um, doing the work up front and doing the background checks and protecting your culture and making sure you're better off going through 80 hours and 3 months of interviewing somebody and not hiring them than bringing on the wrong person. And I think looking back, I had such a big heart, and I just wanted to help agents and, pour into them, and didn't really need a huge team or a lot of volume. I wanted to help people do what someone else helped me do. And I probably let my heart get in the way and brought in some people that maybe shouldn't have. So it became They weren't bad people. They were great people. But what it did was I was babysitting people and trying to motivate them every day. And you can't motivate someone to success. Like if they're not hungry at least a little bit, then you're constantly going to be going through that cycle where you're just feeding them, and they need to learn to feed themselves, right? So it was a great experience. It was a great learning experience. It was a lot of fun. Did get to, serve some families that we wouldn't have gotten to, right? And got to coach an agent through her very first deal was a $1 million+ deal on the beach, so got to go to that listing appointment with her and save that listing, right? Get the listing, and then save the deal in the middle of it, and then save that nightmare deal once it was under contract and get it to the finish line. So it was cool because it would have never happened if I wasn't there, and it would have never got to the finish line if I wasn't there. So the experience that I had with agents helping me, I got to be that for her. So it was 100% worth it, and a lot of fun. You just do the work up front, right? I mean, it was a very humbling experience, and I don't regret it at all. I enjoyed it, and I think one of these days I will probably build a team again. I shared with you that February 23, I decided that a couple of people we mutually parted ways, and then a couple of people I had to fire. But I went back from a team of 10 to a team of me and a incredible transaction coordinator and a couple other just kind of contract help. And yeah, it's just better right now for me in this point in my life. And I enjoy the one-on-one personal service to a client. So I would rather, in 23, I served 55 clients, and I feel that most agents that are high level in that top 1% can serve one family on average every week at a high level. So my target that year was 52. And, I just got up every morning. I'm a high D, so I'm not big with tracking numbers and being super analytical. I'm really good with numbers. I'm really good with math and science, but I don't want to micromanage or hyper track things. So my simple mind was keep it simple. Let's go find one family to help this week, right? And the cool thing is you go find one buyer, one seller to pour into and help that week. Yeah, some weeks you might do no deals, some weeks you might do 3 or 4. But over that year I did 55, right? So keep it simple. Like, let's go find one family to help this week. And that to me was way easier than pressuring myself and being like, man, I'm 6 behind my goal. No, like go find one family to help this week. So I think for anybody that's looking to do 52 deals or less, simplify it, right? If you're looking to help 12 people, then cool. Go find one person to help this month. Like keep it very simple. That's my experience.
Great advice. I love that. I'm interviewing a lot of agents. I have not heard that strategy, as an approach. I have one guy that's working with us now, and his thing is, someone's going to sign something today. That's his mentality, right? I'm going to get someone to sign something today. So I love this, that, not focusing on, that big picture, constantly watching every number. Look at, I'm going to help a family this week, I think is a
Quality over quantity.
great approach.
I mean, it's cool. I'm not against the people that are making 300 dials every day, right? And talking to 25 people, especially if you're going deep with those 25 people. I don't think anyone is going deep with 25 conversations. I don't. I've never met it. I haven't met an agent doing it yet. I've met agents talking to 25 people a day. But what if you went really deep with 3 of those 25? Would your business be bigger? Probably. I think truly getting into, I was having a listing appointment with the lady the other day. Me being a veteran, the first thing I see when I bought this home, there was an American flag on this mantle. That was one of my first questions was who was the family member and, what branch did they serve? What did they do? I wanted to know the story. And so I walked in this listing appointment the other day and a lady had an American flag there cased. And of course I was 99% sure I knew it was her husband. But hearing her share it and letting her know, like, it was really cool because she almost made me cry, and she did cry. But one of the things she said was she met her husband. He was an Air Force veteran in Vietnam when he was serving, and they were married 30 years. And she said, the one thing I regret is not letting him know how much I loved him. She's like, he knew I loved him and I did love him, but I didn't let him know. And she's like, if I just wish if I had one more day, you know, to just let him know how much he really meant to me, because he died in his 50s. Nobody saw it coming, you know, and she has an incredible life now. And he was a great man, and they'll be back together someday. But it was just really cool, like going deep with somebody, right? And then there were some other things that, we talked about that we had commonality with. So I just like building a real REAL relationship versus just a business
Yeah.
transaction.
So tell me anything you're doing with like niches, like the veteran, obviously, right? People, I find agents, that, they're runners. So they can really work like with running groups, or they have a college alumni, which is like huge. You have a veterans alumni, which is beyond huge, right? Is there any niche that, do you look to work with like veterans particularly, or?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, because the beginning of this year, my goal was to get in front of more active duty military and veterans to help them invest, because I've seen what investing in real estate can do for you. And well, let me back up. When I started my career, or at least in 2018, I became involved local grassroots with a local veteran organization, volunteering and donating money and time and sweat. And then also got involved with a national organization called Homes for Our Troops, which is really cool. They take post 9/11 veterans that have lost their arms, their legs, they're paralyzed, they've lost their vision, and they custom build the home to that veteran's needs. It's breathtaking. If you've never been, look up Homes for Our Troops. They've got a home map of homes that have been built, homes are in process, and you can sign up for updates on the ones that are in process. And it's not like Habitat for Humanity, but it is. They have a groundbreaking, then they have their work day is only on landscaping. So laying sod, planting bushes, planting trees. And then they have a key ceremony, which is incredible. And I've been honored to speak at two of those key ceremonies. And they have a honor agent program where if you donate or fundraise a certain amount of money every year, that you get to be an honor agent. And I've been an honor agent with them since 2018. And we do a big golf tournament here every year. Last year was our 10th year. So I haven't been involved every year, but I've been involved every year since 2018. Last year was our 10th year, and we raised around 170 or $180,000 and broke the $1 million mark, right? So that's the snowball in anything, right? There's the snowball in business. There's the snowball in fundraising and giving. There's the snowball in relationships, where you just do a little bit every day. And then one day you wake up and you're like, wow, we just raised $180,000 at one golf tournament and broke $1 million. So grassroots giving back to veterans. And now I'm getting better at targeting, helping the veterans in their real estate needs. It's really hard to convince a 20-year-old kid to buy a house versus buying a new truck. And why do I know that? Because I was a 20-year-old kid that bought a brand new 2004 Lariat F-150 for $40,000 that I didn't need, right? And I look back at all the money that I've wasted on a 04, 06, 2011, 2014, 2020, 2024. I finally got smart and paid cash for the first vehicle I've ever bought. And so anybody that's listening to this, that's a car or truck lover, if you don't own real estate, stop buying vehicles and buy a house, and then don't buy another vehicle till you can pay cash for it. My granddad told me, if you can't pay cash for it, you don't need it. He told me that probably 26 years ago. And it took me this long to finally listen to him. And the funny thing is, once I'd saved up that money to do that, I didn't even want to, right? Because now you've got it sitting there and you're like, man, I could go invest in another house, or I could put this in the stock market and let it draw interest and make me money. Or you can go buy this truck that you don't really need and pay cash for it. The only thing that made me buy it was when Toby Keith passed away. I talked to a couple friends. And I was like, you know what? You can't save every penny. Like, you do need to enjoy it. And so I'm not going to say don't get so tight that you don't enjoy your life, but at least be tight enough that if God forbid something happens, that you're not in trouble, and struggling.
Great advice. Just great advice. Andrew, I thank you so much. Really, I look for agents to get some little nuggets of information out of these interviews. And because if you get one, to me, it's a home run, right? And you can try and use it your own. I think you have some great ones here. Really appreciate it. I think it'll go a long way. And, really, God bless you and the family. And that what you've done and served for the country. It's, couldn't be more excited for you in this next stage in where you're going. And again, just love hearing your story of backing down. It's a huge story. People won't do that, right? They think more is more. No, not necessarily, man. When you get a little bit older, for these younger agents maybe watching, right? Your health, your family, things are way more important than just, how's my GCI? Am I, where am I on the list?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Every dollar you save or you invest is a dollar you don't have to go make. So I think whether if it's MREA in that budget model and paying yourself 29.2, I paid myself 30%. But if from day one, what if every agent paid themselves 30% and they saved or invested 10 to 20% or more? You'd have a lot of agents that are in trouble right now that wouldn't be in trouble. You'd have a lot of agents that went out of the business and went and got a job that could have stayed in real estate, right? So save your pennies for a rainy day, because if you're not seeing the market shift in your area, it's been shifting here for 2 years, right? And so I'm grateful that I saved during the great days. So it made these, the tough days for everybody else were, the last 2 years have been easy. The last 6 years in real estate have been easy if you have a pulse. I mean, literally, you show up and you make a few phone calls and you're going to make money. So now it's starting to shift to a skill set market. And if you don't have skills, you're finding that out real quick, right? And the ones that do have skills are the ones that have 7 to 10 pending and 5 million plus, under contract. So if you're struggling, get a coach, give me a call, whatever. Michael and I are here. We want to help you. But believe in yourself. And if you don't right now, find somebody that does, that can help you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Totally inspirational and a great way to start the day for me. So really appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate y'all.